The Global Engine Manufacturing Alliance, or GEMA facility in Dundee, Michigan, is a joint partnership of Chrysler, Hyundai, and Mitsubishi about an hour outside of Detroit. The plant assembles fuel-efficient four-cylinder engines inside this 1.16 million square foot facility for Chrysler. But walk outside the door and you'll see another nod to the environment that's been thriving since the plant opened 3 years ago. Waves of prairie grass and colorful native wildflowers blanket the 276 acres surrounding the GEMA facility. The look and sweet natural aroma are unmistakably wild vegetation, and that was the plan from day one.
There was a requirement from the city of Dundee that basically said that in order for you to build a plant with the land that was given to us by the state of Michigan, that we had to plant trees, an inordinate number of trees. We came up with a counter-proposal to reintroduce a Michigan prairie here on the bulk of the property that we have. It's a very rural area, and what we didn't want to do was make a very hard-edged operation. That was proposed to the village, and the village said, we'd love that idea.
As it turned out, the benefits of having a prairie for a front yard extend far beyond keeping your neighbors happy.
We're looking for a low-cost option that got us a very attractive-looking facility, but at a low operating cost. And a prairie fits right in that ballpark. Natural prairies in Michigan have flowers in the spring, have flowers in the summer, have tall grasses and short grasses. A lot of animals do cut across our property lines, and what we didn't want to do was keep that from happening. Also, there's a lot of wild animals that we've taken an awful lot of their natural habitat away. Natural prairies reintroduce that natural habitat. And so a lot of the little creatures that exist and existed in those prairies are now coming back and finding home in our front lawn.
Baumbach says it takes 4 years to fully establish a prairie from seed. But unlike a faster-growing grass landscape, it's almost maintenance-free.
Once the prairie is established, a burn that happens normally once every 4 years, that burning gets rid of old vegetation and enables new vegetation to grow. And so it's natural for a prairie. There are no toxic burn-offs because it's all natural material that's burning. And there's no injuring to wildlife because, quite frankly, they're very comfortable with those kind of situations. They just migrate to an area that's not burning. And our burns, when we say are localized, they're localized in an area of like 2 foot by 2 foot. We burn an area, then put it out, move to the next area and burn an area. So it's not like a wholesale wildfire. In certain growing seasons, you might have to do a heavy mow. But for the most part, on a day-to-day basis, there's no watering required, there's no seeding required, there's no fertilization required, and like I said, it's very easy to keep trimmed because there is no trimming.
The challenge of choosing and planting the prairie grass seeds at GEMA was the biggest job Esther Dernwald's Michigan Wildflower Farm had ever been asked to undertake.
We're invited to put a bid together for the project, and we thought, wow, this would be a fantastic experience for us to be doing this on this scale. We teamed up with another native plant producer for one, because 132 acres and 132 acres of seed was a lot, to acquire and to put together. What we saw today as we walked out here were some of the native prairie grasses such as little blue stem, big blue stem, Indian grass and switchgrass. And then we also saw some black-eyed Susan, which is close to blooming. We saw some prairie dock, stiff goldenrod. What makes native plants extremely hardy, as you say, are their root systems, and they're acclimated to our climate and our conditions here in Michigan. Some of these root systems go as far as 20 feet into the soil, and much of that growth can even happen before you see much growth above the soil. So while they're putting down those deep root systems, they can tap into moisture during droughty times, and they're also doing a fantastic job for building up the soil and drawing water down back into the soil.
Baumbach said he's yet to find any drawbacks to having a prairie for a front yard. Employees and their families, as well as the folks who live around the plant, continue to let him know that they're all for it.
I think what's important for us as a manufacturing organization is to start to show a more green, positive front to the communities and to society in general. I think that when you make a plant look like it is more part of the community, more part of nature, it becomes a much nicer place to work, which draws good people to the plant. It becomes more friendly to being accepted by the community as a member of community. I think it's the right move at the right time when so many people are looking for, if a place looks good, then it must be good. I think it's time for us to start looking good.
I'm Betty Carrier Newman, reporting for the Green Scene.